Welcome back to another episode of the Dickson Sports Report. I'm Justin, I'm your host, and I want to thank each and every one of you who have been watching the program the last few weeks. Our goal is to bring you more content to do with our local sports here in Dickson County, and the support has been overwhelming. We've had some great interviews the first couple of weeks. We've had a lot of viewers, and we just want to thank you for all of the support. Now, today, I've got Rusty Grove is going to come into the studio with me. You guys may know Rusty. He's a county commissioner. He's in charge of the Burns Parks, and he's also the softball coach over at Burns Middle School. He coaches the Lady Bobcats. He's going to come in today. We're going to talk a little bit about Burns softball. We're going to talk a little bit about Cougar softball. And some of you may not know the connection that he has to Cougar softball because he's got quite the softball family these days. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But before we get to our interview today, I did want to update you on some of the local scores. Many of you have been following our basketball coverage that we've been doing, and this weekend, a lot of great games. Let's go ahead and let's recap some of the scores from this weekend. We've got to go all the way back to the end of last week. Creekwood Lady Redhawks played Friday night in the district championship game, and it was live from Montgomery Central High School. I had the chance to go up there and watch that game with my good buddy T Money and Sheriff Eads. We sat there and watched the game together. It was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, the girls lost on a last-second shot. Final score was 36-35. Sycamore ended up winning that game and taking the district championship. But the girls played really hard and very easily could have won that game. Sycamore had a really great player, number 14. I cannot remember her name right now, but they said that she had committed to go to school in Chattanooga for UT Southern. So they had a really good player, and she showed up and she hit the last-second shot to give them the championship. On the other side, for Dickson, the boys in the semifinal round of the district championship lost to Kenwood 61-58 this past weekend. They ended up playing the consolation game a few days later. But Saturday night was the big championship game for the Creekwood boys, the Redhawks. They took on Fairview. Again, it was at Montgomery Central. I got a chance to go to that game, and it was a great game. Came down to the very end. Jamison Ford, great player for Creekwood, he stepped up and hit a couple of free throw shots right at the end of the game, right when it mattered. If he misses those free throw shots, the game is still tied. Who knows what happens, but he comes in the clutch, and Jamison Ford was able to hit a couple of free throws. Creekwood ended up winning the district championship by a score of 47-45, and that was Saturday night. And then a few nights ago, Dickson County Lady Cougars traveled to Clarksville to play against Henry County, the old rival, and got a chance to go to that game as well. I've tried to go to as many games as I can, and that game was a lot of fun. First half was really close. Actually, at halftime, if I remember correctly, the Lady Cougars were winning 17-15. Keely Webb hit a three-pointer right as we go into the half. And then when we go into the second half, Dickson just went cold. Started missing a lot of shots, and unfortunately came up short in that championship game. The score at the end of that one was 45-24. Henry County won the district championship there for the Lady Patriots. So this weekend, a lot of great games. The district championships took place. Those are over. That round is over. We're moving on to the regional round. And today, after the interview, as we close out the show, I will update you on the brackets. I've got a hold of those, so I will let you know the upcoming games for both the Cougars and the Redhawks just a little bit later in the show. Let's go ahead now and take a break and hear a word from our sponsors. We want to thank our sponsors so much for being there for us and helping us create this show. We couldn't do it without our sponsors. Let's hear from them. When we come back, I'm going to interview Coach Rusty Grove.
Complete Service Heat and Air is a trusted provider of top-notch heating and cooling solutions dedicated to ensuring optimal comfort and efficiency for residential and commercial spaces. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dickson, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties.
Your favorite wine tasting experience is back. The Hendersonville Rotary Club's Wine and Roses Fundraising Gala. Everything you loved and more. Saturday, March the 2nd. Prepare your taste buds for elegant wines, smooth whiskeys, craft beers, and exceptional food. Browse through the silent auction, all to benefit over 25 local charities, schools, and scholarships. Wine and Roses, Saturday, March the 2nd at Our Lady of the Lake Catholic Church, Hendersonville. HendersonvilleRotary.org.
All right, we're back here on the Dickson Sports Report, and today I've got a good buddy of mine. You know, it's springtime, so that means baseball, softball is about to start. So we got Rusty Grove up here to talk with us today. Rusty, how are you?
Oh, man, I'm great. Life's good.
Hey, man, thanks for coming in today. I appreciate it. You know, it's starting to warm up a little bit. Today's really nice.
We've had an amazing February. I've never had a February we start softball like we have. We had 1 week, but, you know, usually we're in the gym a lot. We're trying to find the field houses to practice in. We had 1 week we took off. Besides that, we've been on the field every day since. So the weather's been immaculate this year for softball.
Absolutely. Man, you can't ask for nothing better than that. So you guys, it's the time of the year when you guys are going to get softball going. And talk to me a little bit about Burns softball. It's only been around for a few years. I think 2019 was the first year.
Yeah, Peyton was the first coach they hired. And the first year, it was a COVID year. The second year, Peyton was the coach. That was their first full year. I'll tell you something very interesting about Burns softball that I'm proud of that people probably don't realize. Peyton's last year as coach, her first full year as a coach, she took them all the way to the sub-state game and lost to Summertown. And Summertown went on to win the state championship, lost in the sub-state game. The next year I took over as head coach. Peyton left, went to Independence. And we went 26-0. And we went all the way to the sub-state game, and the week of the sub-state game, Corey Lee, our pitcher, my daughter, fell down the steps and cracked her left wrist, which is her pitching wrist, and we lost to Highland Middle School. The only loss of the year, that was a sub-state game, and they went on to win the state championship. Wow. So last year we was 24-1. We had one hiccup in the regular season, and we went on ahead and beat Charlotte in the area and won the area championship. Then Charlotte got hot, and we lost to Charlotte in the sub-state game. So we've had 3 losses in 3 years, and all of us in the sub-state game, and the 3 teams that beat us went to win the state championship. Wow. So I would put our success to Burns Middle School to anybody. Who else has that record? I think, as me a head coach, I think somebody told me the other day I'm 51-2 as a head coach, and Peyton was all the way to the sub-state game her last year. So as a middle school program, we've had good girls come through, and I'm excited about what I got this year. I mean, and I've got some 6th and 7th graders that's I'm very impressed with. By 8th graders, I got a few good solid 8th graders that I've had now for a couple of years, but anybody that knows me and knows softball knows that you know, my last group, you know, when Peyton come through, I raised them girls up and kind of had a travel ball team and brought them all the way through from 7, 8 years old all the way to 18 years old, and everybody knows I went to 4 state championship games and won 2 and could finish second twice. But and I preach to my girls, this 6th, 7th, and 8th grade class I've got now at Burns, and that's not including the girls that will come from Dickson. If they stick together, they got the right parents, the right mindset, and the right attitudes, they can make another run. They're that talented, I believe.
That would be exciting to see, because it wasn't that long ago that they were coming through and they were really doing some big things, and a lot of people are happy that Peyton's back. You know, from Williamson County coming back over here, and we're going to try to get her on the show pretty soon. I've talked to her about that, and it just looks like, you know, things are going pretty well around here for softball. We got a really good facility too over at Burns. I had some friends that out of town came down not too long ago, and we took them up there. It was a Burns Cowboys game, and they were just telling me, they were like, man, this is just a great facility. And talk just a little bit about, Burns is lucky to have, nice fields, and a lot of work's been done.
Yeah, I mean, that's my job, really. I was hired. The mayor come to me about 5 years ago, I guess, and everybody knows the problems they was having with the park, and it was incomplete, and they couldn't finish it. And Landon come to me, we growed up together, we'd been friends, and he knew I could coach travel ball, and I was big in softball, new directors and tournaments and whatnot, and he said, look, I need somebody to come up here and fix this park that knows the park situation, that can get us tournaments in up here, and turn this from a deficit into something that's positive for the city of Burns. And so that's how I got my job in Burns, was to fix that park for the city park. And fortunately enough, I'm in the position where I am the Parks and Recs director for the city, and I've got a city council and a mayor that backs us 100% on our school sports. That's not always the case. We help the schools. We don't charge the schools anything. We do the maintenance. We do the upkeep. We mow. And a lot of these schools ain't in that situation. That these other parks, they don't own their parks, especially in middle school. Mm-hmm. They have to pay and have user agreements with the city, and it costs a lot of money. That's something that people don't realize. Most of these softball programs and these athletic programs and baseball programs are funded by the teams. The schools don't really help with it. That's something I disagree with, that I hope we can work on towards the future, is get more funding. I know as a county commissioner last year we voted to give the high schools, for the first time ever, school board presented it to us, and we give them $50,000 for each high school and $25,000 for each middle school for just sports. Burns is fortunate. We've been trying. I've been trying since now I've kind of settled in. I'm trying to get Todd and the Bobcats a baseball field up there, but unfortunately, the way everything is, every field we got either falls off a bluff or it's got a big embankment. So if anybody's been up to the park lately, you can see where we're trying to get that bank dug out. And eventually, I hope that'll be the middle school baseball team, and we're going to support them the same way we do the softball team. But it's just fun, and most, I got to be responsible to the taxpayers of Burns. And just to be honestly, there probably ain't 5% of the people that use that ballpark that pay city taxes. A lot of people think they live in Burns, but they don't live in Burns. Right. They got a Burns address. They don't pay city taxes. So the burden of that park falls on just a select few of taxpayers that are taxpayers that live in the city limits. People tell me all the time, I live on Lake Bluff Road, I got a Burns address. No, I live in the city of Burns, I got a Dickson address. Can't go on the address. So there's very few people, and it's a big burden to the taxpayers of Burns. But fortunately, we've got good people in Burns that want to support our youth. When I presented last year, I went to the city council. We had the park pretty much where we wanted it on the fields. Now we're going to phase 2. And Johnny Chandler, everybody knows Coach Chandler.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I'd see Coach Chandler, he would tell me, and I thought, well, he's getting senile is kind of what I thought. I'd see him at the store or something, and he'd say, for years, your daddy never would charge a kid playing in Burns. Your daddy never would charge kids playing part. I said, yeah, I know. Well, I'd see him again. He'd say the same thing. And I thought, darn, Coach must be getting senile. He tells me that about 15 times. Then I finally realized, I think he's telling me, hey, you're in a position now to help the kids out. Unfortunately, I took it to the city council, and the city council backed me on it. So now we don't charge the kids any user agreements. Everything's free to the leagues to play ball in Burns. Now that don't include your sign-up fees. Little leagues and the Cowboys, they do their own program. They got their own uniforms and stuff. They charge a fee, but we no longer charge any kid to use the facility in Burns. That's something I'm proud of, and I appreciate the city council for backing me up on it, and doing it, because it is about the kids, and we got a service as a city and as a community. We got one great service, and that's to provide for our kids. They're our future, they're our youth. Get them off the street, get them off the couch, quit eating ho-ho and ding-dongs and playing on their phone, and hey, let's get them into the parks if we can. If we can help as a city, let's do what we can do.
Man, that's great. That's really awesome to hear, and you told me that in the past, and I really thought that was a great thing, because, growing up in Burns like I did and playing down at the old fields, it's just really a special place. And, I think that, people like you, Landon, and people in Burns have really, done a lot of things to kind of keep it that way. Take me back in time, because I was talking to some of the new teachers the other day, and they don't really know a lot about Dickson County, Burns, Dickson County, and I was explaining, that your daughter is the coach over at for the Cougars, and that you're coaching over at for the Bobcats, and somebody made the comment, well, they're a real softball family, And I said, absolutely they are. Maybe go back in time just a little bit. You've already kind of touched on it. But how did y'all get so into softball? Obviously, you had a daughter playing the game. But how did that all kind of come to?
When Peyton was just a little girl, I got with some friends around, and it was a mindset that we bought in little. I mean, I've always been pretty competitive. Anybody knows me knows that I'm a pretty competitive guy. And once Peyton decided, and I saw that she had a little bit of athletic ability about her, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right, So I went to Nashville and joined the travel ball team, the Worth team. Back then, Worth was real big. I mean, we're talking years ago. And was invited to come be assistant coach, and it worked in to be the head coach. So I was head coaching a team, and I was getting players from all over. I had 2 or 3. I had McCray, Peyton, Laney Reed from Dickson, but most of them was spread out. I had girls from Clarksville, Mount Juliet, Lebanon, and I was sitting there thinking, we got about 10, 11 years old. We got pretty good, and I thought, I'm making all these kids better, and we're pretty good to come to high school and beat us, So at that time, I went around and I come around Dickson, and I got all the good girls from Dickson. And I started a travel ball team called the DC Cubs back then. And the goal from when I put them together, the mindset of me, my assistant coaches, McCray's mama was one of my assistant coaches, Jennifer Scott was one of my assistant coaches, Ashley Scott's mama. We had one goal that we strive for, and that was to win a state championship for our high school. And I preached it from day one. We can win every tournament across this country, because we pretty much have, and nobody cares. Nobody cares if I'm the USFA World Champion of the world or the ASA Nationals Champion, or nobody cares, because I got them trophies and we've thrown them away and nobody cares. But we win one state championship for our high school, they'll never forget you. And it was a goal that I set along with my assistant coaches, but us doing it didn't matter unless the parents bought in. And that group of parents bought in 100%. And we had 13, 14 kids from Dickson. And that, you had 3 or 4 kids sitting on the bench that was just proud to be on the team. And they went to work, and Brooklyn Lee and Peyton and McCray and Ashley Scott and Becca, they had a work ethic and a mindset that you knew they was going to be great from day one, because and their parents backed us. I could get on them, I could chew them out. They stuck with it. Whatever we called for, they done. And I've told a lot of people, we'd practice at the high school. Coach Buck was the high school coach, and I'd say, man, I got a group of kids coming for you. He'd let me use the high school to practice. I'd call practice at 6 o'clock. If I got there at 5:30, Peyton was mad because there was already 3 other girls there before her. Oh, wow. And when practice was over at 8, we had to stay there to 10 with the other parents hitting fly balls, because nobody wanted to be the last one to leave. And when you get that kind of mindset and that attitude, man, you got something special. And that's what people tell me, how'd them girls do that? I don't know. It was just a mindset that they all bought into, and they all competed nationally. We'd go in the summer. When we was through school ball, whatever, we would go all over the country, play every weekend. We was somewhere. But they all loved each other unconditionally, but they all wanted to be better than the other one. And I tell my girls today on the softball team, hey, I want a group of girls. I want my best player, everybody on the team trying to be the best player, and my best player not know they was the best player.
Yeah. And
that was the mindset of that girls. Everybody wanted to be the best, but nobody knew they was the best. And man, you get that kind of chemistry. But to go back to how I got into softball, that's pretty much how I got into softball. And it's just kind of progressed from there. I just, then Corey Lee come along, and Peyton had just graduated, and I let Corey Lee play for somebody else, and we was down here. But I really wanted to just take a few years off and Dr. Burr, you know, he kept him and his girl was on Corley, and his girl was on the same team, and I was like, man, I just need a few years off. He just kept hounding me, and he's like, we need to do it again, and next time I said, I give in. I said, I'll tell you what, you go get the girls. I'll walk you to every ballpark, and I'll point. You talk to the parents, and you get them, you handle it, and I'll coach them. And he done it, and so we started over again. So that's just kind of my life in softball, you know. I've always loved the game. I always loved to play baseball, you know. And the one person I credit a lot what I do in baseball today is Valton Potter. Todd Potter's daddy, the baseball coach. Me and Todd was the same age, and Valton was our baseball coach. And Valton was hard-nosed, and he was tough. And he believed that hard work, there's no substitute for hard work. And he was hard on us. And it's a lot of the plays that I run, and a lot of the practices that I run, and the things I do today go back to where I was 8, 9, 10 years old playing for Valton Potter all the way up to I was 18, because Valton was a heck of a baseball guy. And tried and true methods. And I tell Todd all the time, as long as we're alive, you know, then now I've got Peyton that's coaching, and I've got other girls that's coaching in other schools. I said, your daddy's coaching tree is pretty strong, you know, because we've all been pretty successful at what we've done. Yeah. And it goes back to Valton Potter, I mean, honestly. Wow. And the old time people, you know, Valton was president of Dickson Youth down here for a while, but you know, he was a baseball man, and I think a lot of things that Todd still does and that I do go back to Valton. And of course, I've got several coaches now that was my assistants or played for me, McCray, Peyton, and girls like that. I'm missing a few, Allie Brown down in Waverly, that are now continuing what I do. And I can go over and watch Peyton at high school sometimes, listen to her, and she's doing a lot of things I do, and I thought, well, that goes always Valton Potter. Wow. You know, so I just, you know, he instilled in me as a young athlete that, hey, there's no tricks to being good. It's hard. Get up every day and go to work, and fundamentals will never let you down. If somebody's trying to sell you something on the internet, I tell people, if somebody's trying to tell you stand on one foot, chew a bag of potato chips, and jump around and swing, they're goofy. There's nothing that can substitute for fundamentals and hard work. And there's no tricks to being good. It's just get out there and catch ground ball, throw a ground ball, swing the bat, and get better. You know. Absolutely.
Well, you guys got we're right here at the beginning of the season. I know you guys have just started practicing and just trying to get everything together. How much further are we along from some softball games?
Well, we kick it off next week, next Tuesday against Dickson at Dickson.
Wow.
We play them dreaded Dragons that you got that shirt on over there. You know, we kick it off against Terry, and like I said, I've got a little different perspective on it now, because I want Terry to do good, and I want Terry to be successful, and I want her to build a good program, because it's going to help my kid at the high school. You know, Peyton, you know, I think we're all on the same page now, and me and Peyton's talked several long conversations about coming back to Dickson and how to build a program, and I think it is be involved in your middle schools.
Yes.
Help your middle schools and get everybody pulling in the same direction. So I think this is the first time in a few years that Dickson's got both middle school coaches, their feeder schools, wanting their high school and feeding their high school, and you also got Peyton coming into our programs and trying to meet the kids. Tomorrow night, and it's the first time I've ever done it, is you know, usually my practices are closed to the parents. I don't want my parents up there talking to my kids. I don't want my kids looking about what mom and daddy doing in the crowd. Mm-hmm. But tomorrow night, I've actually invited all the parents to practice. It's going to be the first time. And I've invited Peyton and her coaching staff to come out and kind of meet the girls, meet the parents. And she was excited about it. You know, I said, hey, let's build it. Hey, I got a good group of girls at the middle school. Let's build that relationship now so they know who you are. You know who they are. And, hey, let's get this Dickson County softball back on top like it was. Because at one time, you know, you went anywhere in the state of Tennessee and said Dickson County softball, and everybody knew.
Everybody.
You know, so, hey, let's build back towards it, and let's get everybody pulling, because nobody cares what I do in middle school. Nobody cares that I'm 50 and 2 or 3, whatever it is. It's what you do at high school. And so that should be all of our middle school goals. Every middle school coach goal should be to develop every athlete they can to make their high school better.
Absolutely.
And I think that me and Terry at Dickson has got that same goal right now and that same mindset. Hey, let's get as many girls ready as possible, so when they get to the high school, they got a head start at the high school, because I know Peyton. and I know Ashley, and I know McCray, and I know Johnny Whittington, who they got coaching the JV, and some other people helping. And their mindset is, let's work hard. Let's get up every day and let's go to work. We might not win them all, but nobody's going to outwork us, and that's our mindset at Burns. And that's the mindset I instill in my girls every day. Hey, who's working harder than us today? If any team in the state's working harder than us, we've not done our job. And that's a mindset that we want to develop at the middle school and instill in these girls, so when they get to the high school, it makes their job easier, because everybody wants to see Dickson County or Creekwood be successful. Everybody wants to see your high schools be successful. It's cool while your parents and stuff are in middle school to see, oh yeah, we was good, we win district champion. But nobody cares. It don't matter. It's what we can develop. It's what the fundamentals we can instill, the work ethic we can instill, the knowledge of the game, the little bit we can put in them, and how many girls we can get ready. And I'm blessed at Burns. Hey, I'm with them in a short time, and I've told people for years, when they had a coaching change at high school, what can they do? Who they need to hire? There's very few high school coaches that can win a state championship. There's a lot can lose one. Mm-hmm. But the state championships now are won by parents and batting coaches and hitting coaches, field pitching coaches, and it takes parents with a lot of time, money, and dedication that wants to sit on the side, work year round, go play travel ball, sit in the parks. Then when you can get that group of girls, and how many you can get on one high school team that will buy into the high school coach, then you have a chance. But the old days of hey, let's go play at the little rec leagues around here, let's take off, play basketball, and then let's go and let our coach work with us and teach us, and let's go compete. That don't work no more. No. It's just a sad reality of the game. You can come to Burns from March the 1st is our first tournament till November the 15th every weekend and see 1,000 people in that park, and kids running everywhere because they're playing year round, and they're playing at a high level against some of the better teams. So it's very hard now for a high school coach or a middle school coach to compete without great parents that's dedicated, that invest in their kids. When you're going out and you're spending hotel rooms and you're buying pitching lessons and you're buying hitting lessons and you're paying travel fees and you're buying uniforms and you're paying thousands and thousands of dollars. I tell people all the time, you're making an investment in your kid. You're investing in them, and when they give them to me, they expect me to continue that investment, not be like the old school coach who just throw them out there and halfway work and sit on a bucket and let them. No, you're giving them to me, and I understand your investment because I've done 2 kids like that. I've made an investment in them, and I want the kids at Burns to trust that I'm going to protect their investment. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to make them worse. I'm going to make them better from my 20 plus years of softball knowledge from going, and I think. But if I didn't have kids in our community and parents that I'm softball blessed, that I wouldn't have that kind of success. And I'm very blessed, and I know it to be talent rich right now. That goes in cycles, and I hope it stays like it is. But I think it is, because I think what we're doing in Burns means a lot, because it's got a lot of kids that wasn't afforded the opportunity to play year round at a competitive level. I think now, that's about 5 years ago I started that program, and now I think you kind of see the benefits from that a lot of local girls that used to not get the opportunity to play travel ball every weekend now can go to Burns and sit in the ballpark all day on Saturday, play pretty good ball, and play 7 or 8 ball games. So I'm hoping that all ties together. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
So if we can get Burns to continue to grow with a travel ball program, we can get Dickson Middle School and Burns Middle School on the same page, coach them hard. I know we're going to have good, successful coaching at the high school now, and maybe this won't go through rules. Maybe we can continue every year to stack classes, and stacking classes is big. And I can't wait till next year, because I've never had an 8th grade leading team. And I tell everybody, last year I started 6 6th graders. Them 6th graders come back this year better than ever. So now I'm starting them again. I'm adding a few with them. Next year, I hope they all come back. I think I'm going to have an 8th grade team. I've never had an 8th grade team. But then I've got a bunch of good 6th graders to come in this year. And I remember when I sent Peyton and all them girls up to the high school with, about all of one of them started as a freshman. We only had one senior played, and the rest of them started. And me and Coach Buck was sitting talking, and he was like, "Man, this is awesome." I said, "No, it's a sad state of your program.
Yeah.
When you got that many freshmen starting in high school, it's not good for your program.
Yeah.
What you want is seniors and juniors starting, freshmen and sophomores on your JV. When you get a senior and junior rating team that's coming through all the time, then you've got a successful program. So, Peyton ain't got a senior on the team this year. And it's just, you go through them stages. But hopefully what we can do now is at the middle school is have 8th grade driven teams every year with 7th and 6th grade solid, just backing them up. And when they get to the high school, they're the same way. They just follow the way through. And you'll have some good senior laden classes and junior, full. Then your freshmen and sophomore are doing what they're supposed to be, freshmen and sophomores. And that's our goal. That's my goal. And I think that we're all on the same page to make Dickson County girls softball not good this year or next year, but for years to come, for a long time.
Absolutely. Well, I was really excited last year when the news came down. First we heard that the softball coach was retiring. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of us, he's been there for a while. You got that stability, so that's a good thing. And then you start thinking, well, who are they going to get, to replace him? And then when a couple days later, and the news came through on my phone, and I looked down and I see, Peyton Grove is coming back. And so I'm just really excited about this season. This is her first season, really getting to do her thing here in Dickson County. I know she's gone off and, learned some other places, and hopefully she's learned some things that she'll bring back here. But we're just really excited about not only Burns, but also seeing her get to come back and kind of take that over. That's really exciting.
And I got 2 daughters. I got 3 daughters. And Peyton and Coralie could be completely different. By the time Peyton was in the 6th grade, I knew she was going to go to college. She was going to play softball. She was going to be in the Hall of Fame at Dickson. And she was going to be the softball head coach. You know how I knew? Because she told me every day. Anybody would ask Jay Palace, she would tell you, I will be the head coach at Dickson. Now, Coralie, I don't know what she's going to do tomorrow. It's amazing how different they are. But that was Peyton's goal from the time she was in the 6th or 7th grade, to be the high school head coach at Dickson when she come back. She was going to go to college. She was going to play softball. She was going to be in the Hall of Fame at Dickson. And she was in the first ballot. The year she graduated, they put her in the Hall of Fame. And Peyton was a 3-sport athlete, done well in all 3, basketball, soccer, and softball. And she was in the 1,000-point club in basketball, and they made a state run. They had a good group of athletes, and she's a very good soccer player. All district every year, and of course, the athletes in softball are what they are. But she pretty much knew by the time she was in the 6th, 7th grade, she was going to be the high school head coach, and she's a very determined kid and a young lady now. And sometimes I think I created a monster because I can see she acted like I did 20 years ago. She's high strung and she's very focused and driven. And, I tell her mama sometimes she come around me, and by the time she leaves, I'm like, I need a Xanax. That kid just stressed me out, because everything's got to be done right now, today, perfect. And so she's gonna have some. She's gonna have some growing moments, and I everybody thought I helped her, or your daddy gonna help you. No, I don't help her do nothing unless she asked. And her first year at Burns, when she had her first year, I'd sit back there because Coralie was pitching. I'd sit in the outfield and I'd listen. I'd watch the game. Then after the game, she would come up and we would talk. What would you do here? What would you do there? But I stayed out of it. And I said, you should have done this here. I would have done this here. I'd have done that there. So I try to be very supportive without stepping on her toes, because I want her to learn on her own too. I want her to make her mistakes, and people need to realize she's a 26-year-old that's getting her first head chance at a predominant program in the state of Tennessee. That's a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll be 49 years old tomorrow, and if I was the head coach at Dickson County High School, I would feel the weight of it. Because Dickson County, if you go anywhere in the state, they're known for softball. I mean, that's been their most successful sport. They won 3 state championships and finished second 3 times, I think, something like that. So there's no other team sport in Dickson that's been as successful as the high school program. So I think that she will bear that weight, and that she will feel that responsibility at some point, because it's a job. I mean, besides the football coach, it's probably the next high pressure job at Dickson. I mean, of course, anytime you're the football coach, you're going in Dickson, you're going to really bear some weight and responsibility. But that being said, I mean, the next most successful sport, you can argue basketball, but basketball's never had the success that softball has.
Right.
So it's a lot to be on a 26-year-old. But if I knew any 26-year-old that could take it, it's her. And she'll take it and she'll run with it. She'll grow from it. There's going to be a year or two of growing pains. She's going to make mistakes, and she's going to do a lot of things good. But what she's going to do is work hard. And there ain't going to be a coach in this county or a coach that I know of is going to outwork Peyton every day. She's going to get up and she's going to go to work, and she's going to do what she can to make Dickson County softball the best that she can make it.
Absolutely, and I was a big fan of her as a player, and when she got hired, of course, I was thought that was a really good idea. But now, actually having worked with her for a couple months now, and over at the high school, we're both teachers over there right now, and everything you're saying, I recognize it. I see it every day, with just the way that she does everything. And so I'm really excited about this. Well, we're coming down to the end of the show here, but I know we were texting, and I know you've got a tournament that you wanted to talk about.
I do, man. I forgot about it.
Let's not forget that.
Hey, I'm fired up about it because, in all my years of being around softball in Dickson County, and it's a long time, that I don't think this has ever happened before. We're going to have April 6th, our fundraiser at Burns is going to be a Dickson County softball day. And I'm fortunate enough to have a good relationship. I was talking to somebody today, and I realized I'm the only man left coaching softball in Dickson County. It used to not be like that.
Yeah.
But, even the middle schools, Maddie over at Charlotte, you saw what she done last year,
yep.
Terry at Dickson, the lady in White Bluff, I can't think of her name right now, and her husband helps her. Then you got Peyton at Dickson and Nancy at Creekwood. Yeah. So, hey, and that's awesome the way the softball has evolved like that, because it used to not be like that. It was a man-driven sport. I mean, a man-driven sport. Men was all the coaches and the girls played. But now, you think about it, I'm the only one left. I mean, you got 4 middle schools and 2 high schools, and these young ladies are doing it. And Nancy, she's not a young lady. Now, I can say that because me and Nancy went to school together. But, hey, I'm proud. That's one thing I'm proud of. But anyway, let's get back to April 6th. April 6th, and we're going to come up with a name today. We're working on it. I've shot some ideas to all my coaches, and because I don't want it just to be about Burns. It's going to be a Burns fundraiser. It's going to be our day. But I get every school in the county is going to get together that day, and we're going to start early in the morning. And all the middle schools, JVs, are going to play each other, and all the varsities are going to play each other. Creekwood, I've invited Coach Buck down from Independence, and everybody knows what Coach Buck has done for Dickson County softball. He's a Burns boy, and if they name anything, they'll name that stadium after Shane Buchanan. He's won more state champions than anybody else, what your opinion is or not. Hey, he's a Dickson guy, and he's had a lot of success here. So he's going to bring his Independence team down, and Creekwood and Dickson are going to play their JVs, and Independence, they're all going to mix it up. And then they're all going to play their varsities, and the last game of the day is going to be a standalone game, Creekwood versus Dickson County, close the night out. So it's going to be a day that I don't think's ever happened in Dickson. You can come, and every kid that's playing school ball in Dickson County, you can come to Burns on April the 6th. I hope you come.
Oh, absolutely.
I hope you do some cast and do some broadcasting and ask Peyton and Nancy about it, because I'm really excited. I think that'll be the day. I hope we can get our new director of schools out, maybe some people around that's big in the school system, come out and do some things. But that's going to be one time you can stand in the middle of the ballpark and watch every kid that's active in Dickson County softball, and watch them all at the same place at the same time. And it's going to be a friendly thing. We're not going to be trying to be mad at each other. It's all about the girls that day, and it's all about getting our middle schools together and our high schools together and showcasing what kind of talent Dickson County has.
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know, we have the booster thing for football. We get, several of them together, but we don't get all of them. Right. I don't know if I ever remember hearing, where every school in Dickson County was represented in a sport having some kind of tournament. That's pretty special.
It is a special day, and I hope people recognize, especially in the softball world, because you always got different personalities. Coaches don't want to play this coach, but fortunately, I've got a pretty good relationship with all the softball coaches now in Dickson, with Peyton being at the high school. Like I said, me and Nancy go back to high school. Maddie over at Charlotte, me and her stepdad Stacy on the county commission together, and so we've always had. Stacy's oldest daughter Sloan played softball for me, so we've always had that good relationship there. Terry at Dickson, me and Terry do a lot of work. Terry works for the mayor, Bob. So so we've got with me and Terry. She's used to be my president up at Burns Little League, so we've got a pretty good relationship there. And I built one with White Bluff. I've got to know them the last couple of years, and I think everybody for the first time has kind of set their egos and their win, or I don't want to play them this year because they're better than us or this. And that's another one of my pet peeves. I hope we get a countywide athletic director. Y'all listen to me, I doubt it. But all the interviewers said they wanted one. That's been one I've been wanting to push that for 4 or 5 years just for this reason. because for years the middle schools, the high schools, one player went here and made them mad. They wouldn't play each other. The middle school, this middle school was better than this middle school. We ain't playing them. I've always thought that we need one athletic director, so everybody is on the same page, and especially at the middle school level, to stop the pettiness. Hey, we got one goal, and that's to go to high school and be good. Mm-hmm. So that's one of my big pushes for countywide athletic director, and that's why I've wanted one for years, is it takes the power out of these independent athletic directors and put everybody under one, and hopefully whoever they hire has got the ideal that the vision to see that our main goal should be at Creekwood and Dickson is to win state championships for our high school and stop all the petty stuff, because we're not competing against each other, we're competing with each other to be great for both sides of the county. So I don't know how I got off on that, but you got me off on politics somehow,
hey, look,
Justin.
I appreciate you coming up here today. I guess we're getting close to the end here, but you and I, we could sit here and talk about politics the whole time. When you first came in, and people didn't hear it, but so what are we talking about today? Politics, sports? What are we talking about?
I like politics too.
Yeah, I know. Me and you definitely talked about politics a few times.
Yeah, we can always come back and talk politics. I'm planning on making a mayor's run this year. I'm going to run for Mayor Burns this year. Landon's not going to run no more, and so when it comes time, I hope we can sit down and talk politics, because I love Burns. I want to continue what I've done in the parks, and I want to do it at a government level on a higher level. So I am going to run for mayor this year. So I hope we can come back and talk about that one this time.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've got a few of the school board candidates that are coming in the next couple of days. So everybody keep an eye on DC TV. We'll be interviewing a couple of those candidates. Trying to get back into politics, and then when we come a little further in the year, definitely want to talk to you and anybody else who's running. Right. I really enjoy that. So, and people ask me all the time, who's going to run against you? I don't know, but I hope so, because I enjoy the campaign. I do, man. Yeah. When I run for county commissioner, I enjoyed going out and talking to people, going door to door, and I enjoy that part of it. Believe it or not, I enjoy the campaign part of it. Yeah. But that's something we'll talk about. But I hope to see you April 6th set up. We'll give you a front row seat up there. I know the parks director, and we'll kind of give you a selected seating up there. And I hope you come up there. And really, the standalone game, the showcase of the night is going to be Creekwood at Dickson. And we're going to be using 3 fields all day long, because when you got that many games, that many teams, you're going to have to be playing a lot at one time. But the last game, the standalone game, and I hope all the kids stay from all the middle schools, to give them the opportunity to watch our 2 high schools. Absolutely. Play a friendly game. We will definitely be there. I'll bring the radio equipment. I'll bring the cameras, and we'll get as much of it as we can, and it'll be a fun day. And I think hopefully everybody will come out. But even if they can't, we got grandparents and stuff that live far away, and so we always like to try to provide those opportunities for anybody and everybody. But that sounds like an excellent day. That's something that I wish more sports would do in the future. I hope other coaches and athletic directors see what you're doing and say to themselves, hey, we could do that too, because that sounds like a really special event, and it's really all about the community, and it's all about the kids, and that's really something that supports both. It's all about the kids. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Rusty. I appreciate you coming in. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, I want to let everybody know about... thank you, and go Bobcats. Go Bobcats. We'll be back in just a minute. When we come back, I'm going to tell you about the regional basketball brackets. They came out today, so we're going to talk about that in the last segment. We'll be right back here on the Dickson Sports Report.
Complete Service Heat and Air is a trusted provider of top-notch heating and cooling solutions dedicated to ensuring optimal comfort and efficiency for residential and commercial spaces. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way 24/7. Service, call us at 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dickson, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties.
Your favorite wine tasting experience is back. The Hendersonville Rotary Club's Wine and Roses Fundraising Gala. Everything you loved and more. Saturday, March the 2nd. Prepare your taste buds for elegant wines, smooth whiskeys, craft beers, and exceptional food. Browse through the silent auction, all to benefit over 25 local charities, schools, and scholarships. Wine and Roses, Saturday, March the 2nd at Our Lady of the Lake Catholic Church, Hendersonville. HendersonvilleRotary.org.
All right, and we're back here to close out the show here on the Dickson Sports Report. Thank you to Rusty Grove for coming in and talking to me today. I don't know if you guys caught that or not. We got breaking news here on the Dickson Sports Report. Rusty Grove's running for the mayor of Burns. I think that's the first time that's been announced. So breaking news. You heard it first right here on the Dickson Sports Report. You never know what you're going to hear. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast at the beginning of the show, regional basketball tournaments are coming. Last weekend, we had the district tournaments. That was a lot of fun. Now we're moving on to region, and teams are really looking for a chance to make it to the state tournament and to see how far they can go. I do have the brackets here. We'll go ahead and we'll start with Creekwood first. So it looks like, let's see. We'll go with the girls first. The opening round for the girls region for Creekwood will start on Friday, February 23rd. So that's tomorrow night. The game will be at Creekwood. It will be against Lexington, and it will start at 7 o'clock. If the Lady Redhawks are successful in that game, then they will travel down to Chester County to play in the semifinal round on Monday, February the 26th. We're not sure on the time of that game yet, but if they win that game on Monday, they will return on Wednesday, and they will play in the championship at Chester County High School Wednesday, February the 28th at 7 p.m. Now for the boys, the Redhawks, they're also playing Lexington. Their opening round will begin on Saturday, February the 24th. That game will also be at home. So Creekwood has two home games, one on Friday, one on Saturday. If they are lucky enough to win that game, they will go into the semifinal round, also at Chester County High School. That game will be on Tuesday, February the 27th. We're unsure of the times right now of the semifinal round games, but if they're able to win that round, they will finish up with the championship. That will be at Chester County High School Thursday, February the 29th at 7 p.m. All right, now let's take a look at the Dickson County brackets. Let's see, we'll start with the girls. Their first game will be on February the 23rd, and that will be against Springfield. It'll be at 7 o'clock, and it will be a home game. If they are able to win that game, they will play again on February the 26th at 6 p.m. in the semifinal round. That game will be at Northwest High School. If they are so lucky to win that game, they will end up in the championship, which will be played on February the 28th at Northwest High School, 7 p.m. On the boys' side, Dickson County will play Kirkwood in the first round, February the 24th. That will be at 7 p.m. If they are able to win that game, they will play again on February the 27th at Northwest High School at 7:30 p.m. And if they're able to win that game, the championship will also be held at Northwest on February the 29th at 7 p.m. So that gets you up to date with regional basketball action. I've got a copy of those brackets. I'll put those on the DCTV page if you guys are interested in seeing those. I'll try to put that out for you. But there's a couple of games this weekend, Creekwood, game at Dickson County. It might be your last chance to see home basketball games this year, because after this, the region is happening, and then if you are able to keep going, the games get further and further away from Dickson County. So this is really your last chance to see these athletes perform this season. So if you get the chance, go out this weekend and check out either Creekwood or Dickson County, whichever one you'd like to see. I'm sure they would love to have a great crowd to cheer them on as they enter into the region. Well, that's going to do it for us today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I appreciate all the guests. Got a great show lined up for you next week. I don't want to say who it is yet, just in case we have to change things, but I've got a couple of great guests that I expect to have in here next week, and I think you're really going to love the show. So thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next Thursday, 10 a.m., Dickson Sports Report. Y'all have a great weekend.